Today we're here for Content Marketing Institute and Marketing Prof's B2C Research Roundtable.
It does beg the question, though, should you insource the content strategy or outsource it, right? Because I think one of the problems is every agency now says they have a content strategy or a content strategist on staff that can help you do this. And so you have your advertising agency, your PR agency, your media agency, your digital agency, all saying they can offer this service. And I think for me, in my experience with consumer brands, content is the closest thing to the brand, and it actually can be distributed through all of those channels, right? Advertising can help it, PR can certainly leverage it. You can leverage a media strategy to actually build relationships to distribute the content. I think you really need to have it close to the CMO, and it has to be something that you know can work with the other agencies in a really cohesive way. And I don't know if an agency has the power externally to do that.
There has to be a healthy mix of both. So I think it is hard for a CMO to be completely objective, and they love their stuff. Whereas an external person can come in and be like, look, I'm not as committed to this as you. So I think sometimes content strategists have to be a little adversarial against what the group
It's
thinks.
the fun part of our job.
challenge-
It's the best part of my job.
But I think the
I love doing
challenge is
that.
this is such a nascent, specialty. So I think it would be great if everything happened in-house. I think there's a handful of people, maybe more, that exist that really understand, what they're doing to develop content strategy. That includes at the agencies as well, because there's a lot of agencies that are, ad agencies or media agencies or PR agencies or other kind of agencies who now decided, hey, we could be content strategists too. So there are very few people anywhere who really understand, how to set a strategy, how to build the ecosystem, how to answer the why and the what, not just the how and the where. And that's the challenge. You have to figure out, who actually knows what they're doing.
I think here's the opportunity, right, for most consumer brands. They're investing in agencies to do the work for them like we used to do with advertising and PR, right? Instead, I think the opportunity is hire someone today who has the potential to be a content strategist long term, but they must be internal so that they can actually learn this and work with the rest of the brands, and bring in all the agencies you want to help consult on that stuff while you get it up and running. Forever.
Well, I was just going to say, the thing that you're doing is because what's happening now is merged media, right? It's paid, owned, and earned. And then you have all these agencies that are managing all of that. Yeah. And content strategy, it goes across all three of those.
That's right.
Yeah.
Earned is the brass ring, right? I mean, it's like if you can get it. But, from a paid perspective, a content strategist like myself, I don't understand paid advertising as well as, an agency does. So there's something to be said about having that person. Personally, for me, in-house or out-of-house, doesn't matter.
Right.
But there has to be someone who can corral all of that and understand the merged side of it.
Well, and it is so, again, it's very, very nascent. Like, we recognize the interrelationship between content and advertising and PR and digital, but there's also IT, there's also media, there's also technology. And the ability to weave all of those together takes a special kind of discipline.
And it can only be done with someone in-house. I can't tell you how many times I've had problems with agencies not being able to work together.
I think it's going to depend. You're going to have organizations that culturally do not have that individual internally. They may have someone who's a champion, not in a position to influence the bureaucracy, and you really have to rely on an agency, a good partner, to help move that tide, to help influence what's going on in the organization, have that top to top. So that's one example. There's going to be another example where you do have an empowered champion with an organization, a CCO, someone who knows and understands the power of talking to consumers on consumers' terms that can influence that particular culture. So I think it's going to depend, and I think I personally, as a content strategist in this sort of nascent field, I go into this assuming that eventually the light bulb is going to go on and the company is going to want to bring more of this in-house.
Consultant comes in and can be adversarial, can be, fight and push to get things through, because at the end of the day, we wash our hands and walk away.
Right.
So I think that's where going out of house allows you to get some fresh perspective so that you can have someone help you refocus on the consumer where you should be talking.
There's also just a heck of a lot of different types of content assets to produce. There's a lot of production that's required. There's new formats every day. So there's only so much of that that's going to go in-house.
Yeah, sure.
And the orchestration of all that.
Yes.
If you put content at the center of all of this and let advertising, PR, social media, digital media, out-of-home advertising, whatever it is, circle around that. I think you have a much better, more integrated program and a really good opportunity to do it. You have to have a champion inside that can actually rally all those agencies to leverage the assets the company now owns to do that right. And if you don't have a forward-thinking CMO or you don't have a CCO in place, it's almost impossible for any content strategist from outside to make an impact.
Really what you have to do is be able to go in there, and we call this in our agency, we call this the moment where we tell them their baby is ugly. And we say, yes, you have a website. However, we don't think it's really helping you, and it's really not doing anything to motivate your users. And at the end of it, what are they supposed to do? You dead-ended people. I've watched your video. Okay. So I think that there's this missing element that if it's all done in-house, all of it exclusively, no one's going to come in and be really objective. You need the outside person. You may be writing yourself out of a job, but you may still be parachuted in to go, all right, let's settle the argument. Is this any good?